Okay, so it's Friday, June the 8th, 2012, and this is an update from our backyard garden here in Brooklyn. So we've been thinning out some of the buckwheat and giving it to the chickens as a snack, but you can see the tomatoes are shooting up through the buckwheat, or what's left of it, along this little raised bed system here. Our lawn is actually nearly in. We use this stuff called Herbalae, which I mentioned before. It's like a pasture mix with clover and different types of grasses, plantain, wild kales and turnips and stuff like that. So it's filling in pretty nicely. The chickens love to eat it, and it grows pretty fast. So my neighbor decided she wanted to plant some tomatoes, and some eggplants, so we cleared the area so she could add some of her own vegetables to the mix. We pulled up some of the lettuces and stuff that were in here. We've been feeding them to the chickens. The planting, the spacing on these is way too close. So just as a note for any of you new gardeners out there, you wanna give your tomatoes at least 18 to 24 inches of space in between each plant, because these tomato plants and stuff are going to get really big, so it's kind of hard to sort of envision them reaching that size. So people tend to kind of plant a lot of things close together to try to get as much out of it as possible, but you really need to just sort of take into account the amount of space that each tomato is going to need and plant accordingly. Well, we've got some arugula that's starting to bolt, but this stuff, since it was shaded by the buckwheat, is still in pretty good shape. It's pretty tasty. It hasn't gotten too intense or peppery. So we'll be harvesting some of that tonight for dinner. So our lantana and pineapple sage are getting really big. They're pretty happy back here. Our basil's still getting chewed up, I think by slugs, but it's bouncing back. We got some lemon verbena and oregano. Oregano, it takes a little while to really get going, but once it does, it'll be in this garden pretty much forever. Okay, more buckwheat. We've got our mint hiding back here. Pineapple mint and regular old spearmint. Good for making tasty cocktails. So, and our raspberries too let me get out of the way, are getting really big. This is probably the biggest they've been in the 3 years they've been planted here. So we've got lots of little baby raspberries on here. These are all going to be golden raspberries, so they're like kind of milder, kind of tart, but really good. So we've been actually I've been harvesting the leaves for making teas. It makes for a really light, refreshing tea, iced tea, and it's got some toning effects, especially as far as women's reproductive systems are concerned. But it makes for a really great tea. So if you just started planting raspberries this year and you want to get something out of it, because it does take a few seasons for raspberry bushes to start producing heavily, consider harvesting leaves in the meantime. We transplanted my lavender in here too. I've been making smudge sticks with yellow and white sweet clover and some lavender. So we transplanted, this is like a 3rd-year lavender bush that had been outgrowing all the pots that it was in, so I put it in the raised bed, and it's happy for it. And of course we've got plenty of buckwheat everywhere. I've been pulling handfuls of it out every day and throwing it in the chicken coop. And the chickens, as you can see, love to pick through it. Still haven't gone through and sifted the compost, but I need to, because there's a lot of stuff in there. There's a piece of beeswax. That's weird. Here are the chickens. Hi, chickens. This one hates the phone. Whoa! There's Buddy, Pierogi, Dumpling. My Noodle, sad to say, is not doing too well. She's been dying over the past few days, and I don't think that she's gonna make it through the day. So, Godspeed, Noodle. We've got some eggs in here ready to go. And finally, our little raised bed, little container garden, our bean teepee right here. These are Scarlet Runner beans in there. They're doing great. They've filled out that teepee really well. Our sunchokes are nice and tall. Got some onions in there, looking a little droopy. This bed really hasn't taken off. We planted some red noodle yardlung beans in there, and they're not really doing much of anything. I mean, they're coming up, but they're growing really slowly. And then some potatoes from last year started sprouting up, so I guess it won't be a total loss. And here is a total mess. We had a squash that kind of, like a renegade squash, sprouted out of this bed, and we've been just kind of letting it go, which is probably not the best idea because it's pulling down the tomatoes. We've got some white currant tomatoes mixed in here with some geraniums, and sooner or later I'm going to have to rip this up. But I didn't plant any squash this year, so part of me is just sort of hoping that that I'll get something out of this, even if it's just squash blossoms. I love fried squash blossoms, so we'll see how this goes. So that's pretty much it. You should share some of your videos on our Facebook page, brooklynhomesteader.com, or www.facebook.com/brooklynhomesteader. So, thanks again for watching. Have a good day.